They called it the Tasmanian Tiger, a name that conjures images of a fearsome striped cat from the jungles of Asia, but the creature that carried this title was something else entirely. It wasn't a tiger, nor was it a wolf or even a dog, despite its canine-like appearance. It was the thylacine, the largest carnivorous marsupial of modern times, and a creature so unique it feels like it walked out of a lost world. With its sandy yellowish coat, dark transverse stripes on its back, a stiff tail, and a jaw that could open to a startling degree, the thylacine was a true biological enigma. This was a predator that hunted like a wolf but carried its young in a pouch, a living paradox that once roamed the wilds of Australia and Tasmania. For thousands of years, the thylacine was the apex predator of its ecosystem. Archaeological evidence shows it was widespread across mainland Australia and New Guinea, but its world began to shrink long before European settlers arrived. The introduction of the dingo to mainland Australia thousands of years ago is thought to have played a significant role in its decline there. Outcompeted and pressured, the thylacine's last stronghold became the island of Tasmania, a final refuge where it could continue its reign. Here, isolated from the mainland, it thrived for millennia, a solitary hunter stalking the forests and grasslands, a silent ghost in the Tasmanian bush. But this isolation couldn't protect it forever. When European colonists arrived in Tasmania in the 19th century, they brought with them sheep, agriculture, and a deep-seated fear of predators. The thylacine, with its wolf-like appearance, was immediately cast as the villain. It was blamed for killing livestock, a reputation that was largely undeserved. Studies of its jaw structure suggest it was better suited for hunting smaller prey like wallabies and birds, not large, struggling sheep. But the myth was more powerful than the reality. A bounty was placed on its head. Farmers, settlers, and bounty hunters waged a relentless war against the animal. They were trapped, poisoned, and shot on sight. This government-sanctioned persecution, combined with habitat loss and disease, pushed the thylacine to the very edge of existence. The hunt was brutally effective. By the early 20th century, the Tasmanian tiger was already a rarity, a ghost of its former self. The final chapter of the thylacine story is a tragedy of human indifference and a failure of conservation. The last known wild thylacine was shot and killed in 1930 by a farmer named Wilf Batty. The animal's slow, agonizing demise was a grim foreshadowing of what was to come for its entire species. The very last of its kind was a male named Benjamin, though some debate its gender. Captured in the wild, Benjamin spent his final years pacing a concrete enclosure at the Hobart Zoo. He was a relic, a living museum piece, and a lonely symbol of a disappearing world. In a cruel twist of irony, the species was granted official protection by the Tasmanian government on July 10, 1936, but it was too late. Just 59 days later, on September 7, 1936, Benjamin died. It's believed he died from neglect, locked out of his sheltered sleeping quarters and exposed to the freezing Tasmanian night. With his last breath, an entire branch of the tree of life vanished from the earth, or did it? The death of Benjamin officially marked the extinction of the thylacine. The world mourned a creature it had barely known, but the story doesn't quite end in that cold zoo enclosure. In the decades since, the Tasmanian tiger has transformed from a biological entity into something more, a legend, a cryptozoological icon, and a powerful symbol of hope and loss. The Tasmanian wilderness is vast, rugged, and largely unexplored. And from its deep, dark forests, whispers have continued to emerge. There have been thousands of alleged sightings since 1936. People report fleeting glimpses of a striped, dog-like animal darting across a remote road or finding strange, unidentifiable footprints in the mud. Fuzzy photographs and grainy videos surface periodically, sparking intense debate and reigniting the hope that a remnant population somehow survived, hidden away from human eyes. Each new piece of evidence is scrutinized by believers and skeptics alike. Is that a thylacine in the shadows or just a mangy fox? Is that a thylacine's call caught on a sound recorder or merely the wind whistling through the trees? Most of these claims are easily dismissed as cases of mistaken identity, often involving wallabies, dogs, or feral cats seen under poor lighting conditions. Yet some reports come from credible witnesses, park rangers, Seasoned bushmen, even scientists, people who know the local wildlife intimately and swear they saw something that didn't fit. These tantalizing accounts keep the flame of hope alive. The thylacine has become Tasmania's own Loch Ness monster, a ghost that haunts the collective imagination. While amateur hunters search the wilderness with cameras and hope, scientists are exploring a different, more radical path to bringing the thylacine back: de-extinction. This isn't science fiction anymore. Thanks to advancements in genetic engineering and cloning, the idea of resurrecting an extinct species is becoming a tangible possibility. The thylacine is a prime candidate for such a project. Why? Because we have its DNA. Museums around the world hold preserved thylacine specimens, pelt skeletons, and even joeys pickled in alcohol. From these century-old tissues, scientists have been able to extract and sequence parts of the thylacine's genome. The goal is to piece together the full genetic blueprint of this lost animal. The leading effort is being undertaken by Colossal Biosciences, a company working in partnership with the University of Melbourne. Their plan is audacious. First, they aim to sequence the complete thylacine genome. Then, they'll compare it to the genome of its closest living relative, the numbat or the dunnart, a small, mouse-sized marsupial. Using CRISPR gene editing technology, they will edit the dunnart's DNA to match the thylacine's blueprint, turning a dunnart cell into a thylacine cell. This engineered nucleus would then be transferred into a dunnart egg, and if all goes well, an embryo would be created. This embryo would be brought to term, potentially in an artificial womb or using a surrogate mother. The result, they hope, would be a living, breathing thylacine, or at least a very close approximation. Of course, the scientific and ethical hurdles are immense. Can we ever truly recreate a perfect copy? And even if we could, where would it live? The Tasmanian ecosystem has changed in the nearly a century since the thylacine disappeared. Reintroducing a long-lost apex predator could have unforeseen consequences. Is it right to bring an animal back into a world that it may no longer be suited for? These are complex questions with no easy answers. But the pursuit itself teaches us invaluable things about genetics, conservation, and our own role in the planet's biodiversity. The de-extinction project is not just about correcting a past mistake. It's about pushing the boundaries of what's possible, and perhaps one day giving a second chance to a creature we drove to oblivion. Let's not forget the incredible animal at the center of this story. One of the most striking features of the thylacine was its incredible jaw. It could open its mouth to an almost unbelievable 120 degrees. If you've seen the old black and white footage of Benjamin, you've witnessed this haunting, snake-like gape. It's an image that sticks with you, an almost unnatural, ghostly silhouette. This wide gape wasn't for show. It was a key part of its hunting strategy, allowing it to deliver a powerful bite to the skull or neck of its prey. It's one of the many unique adaptations that made the thylacine such a remarkable predator. Its stiff, kangaroo-like tail acted as a counterbalance and a tripod when it stood on its hind legs. Its pouch, uniquely, opened to the rear, which would have protected the joeys from grass and brush as the mother moved through the undergrowth. The story of the Tasmanian tiger is a cautionary tale. It's a stark reminder of how quickly and carelessly humanity can eradicate a species. But it's also a story of enduring mystery and scientific ambition. Whether it survives as a ghost in the Tasmanian bush, a whisper in the night, or as a blueprint for resurrection in a laboratory, the thylacine continues to fascinate and inspire us. It forces us to confront our past mistakes and to dream of a future where we might be able to undo them. The ghost of the Tasmanian tiger still walks among us, a permanent resident in our culture, our science, and our conscience. Will it ever walk the earth again? Only time will tell. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think? Is the thylacine still out there, or is de-extinction our only hope of seeing it again? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the story of a lost world, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries of our planet. See you next time.